Hey, this is Bernie Borges. Welcome to episode 15 of Poolside Sales Chat. If this is your first time tuning in, I am located in Palm Harbor, Florida, which is the Tampa Bay area. And as you can see, it's raining behind me. But that's okay. We are here to talk about sales. And specifically, what I want to talk about today are the 3 costliest mistakes that I see salespeople make on LinkedIn. Now, when I was thinking about this topic, I thought about probably 15 mistakes that I see salespeople make on LinkedIn, but I wanted to focus in on 3. I like that number 3. It's a nice round number. It's also easy for most people to really wrap their head around. And I also realized that these 3 mistakes are not mistakes that are limited to just salespeople. These are mistakes that I see people make across the board. However, this is Poolside Sales Chat, so I want to focus in on the 3 costliest mistakes that I see salespeople make on LinkedIn. So let's begin with mistake number 1, costly mistake number 1, and that is looking at their LinkedIn profile as a resume. It's a huge mistake. I really want all people, salespeople or not, to look at their resume as a sales asset that can work for them 24/7. Hey, if you've watched the Poolside Sales Chat before, you've heard me say that before, that your LinkedIn resume should be a sales asset working for you 24/7. Start with a killer headline, a headline that's compelling and attention-grabbing, and then have a great summary that tells your story and really paints a clear picture of who you are professionally. And then make sure that your body of work is well represented in your LinkedIn profile, not just in your experience below your summary, but also through slide shares and articles that you've published and other media that you can attach to your LinkedIn profile. So mistake number 1 is that it's resume focused. I really want to see everyone have their LinkedIn profile be a sales asset that works for them 24/7. Mistake number 2 that I see people make is occasional or just sporadic use of LinkedIn. You know, every once in a while I watch someone as they log into LinkedIn and I can't help but wonder, why are you logging in? Why are you not logged into LinkedIn? I never log out of LinkedIn, just like I never log out of my email client. So don't make the mistake of only going to LinkedIn when you think about going to LinkedIn. I recommend staying logged in all the time. And by being logged in all the time, then you can visit LinkedIn at a minimum once, maybe a couple of times a day, and engage. Look for opportunities to engage with the people that are in your stream. You can like their content, you can comment on their content, you can share their content. And also you can use the mobile app. So if you're on the go, and if you're a sales professional, there's a good chance you're on the go. So use the mobile app. I use the mobile app all the time for LinkedIn. If I'm standing in line at a coffee shop, or even if I'm at the gym, at the treadmill, I'm checking my LinkedIn stream. And it really just takes a few minutes a day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes a day to just check your stream and look for opportunities to engage with people and build your network. And speaking of build your network, it's a lot easier to build your network on LinkedIn if you're using it every day. So use it every day. So again, mistake number 2 is just sporadic or occasional use. Use LinkedIn every day. Mistake number 3 might be the biggest one of them all. And that is missing out on the research power of LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn, of course, is a professional network. We all know that. But it's also a really rich repository of information that can help us in so many ways in sales and business development. So, for example, at the top of the homepage on LinkedIn, in fact, it's there all the time, is the search bar. Well, you know how to use a search bar? Go in there and search. In fact, LinkedIn has the words inside of search for people, companies, jobs, I think even groups. There's so many things you can search for by just tapping into that potential. When you find someone and you're on their profile, LinkedIn also tells you on the right-hand side, it says people also viewed. So you can tap into the potential of other people that are like those people potentially that you can network with. The same principle applies to companies. If you visit a company page, on the right-hand side, LinkedIn tells you other companies that are like that. So from a sales perspective, you might be able to identify other companies that are potentially the kind of companies that you can go and do business with. So Mistake number 3 is just missing out on all that research potential that is available to you in LinkedIn. If you only look at LinkedIn as just networking only, that's great, but that's just a part of it. Tap into the research potential that LinkedIn provides. Well, even though this Poolside Sales Chat episode is titled The 3 Most Costliest Mistakes That I See Salespeople Make on LinkedIn, I'm going to throw in a bonus 4th, just because I couldn't resist. And that is the one that kind of falls into this metaphor of proposing marriage on a first date. And I know it's a metaphor, but what I mean by that is, if you're in B2B sales and you go on LinkedIn, you already know from your B2B sales experience that it takes time and it takes effort to build relationships in your sales career. Well, then you've got to take that same principle apply it into LinkedIn. You can't jump on LinkedIn and propose marriage on the first date. And you know what I mean by that. You can't jump onto LinkedIn and just pitch. Especially, and I hate this, it happens to me, I'm on the receiving end, someone connects with me, I didn't know them, I really wondered whether or not I should accept their invitation, and then the next day, they're pitching me. And I immediately delete them. So don't do that. In fact, what I recommend you do is you do as Jill Rowley says. Now, if you don't know Jill Rowley, Google her. She is a social selling maven. What Jill Rowley says is give, not to get. I'm going to say that again because it's worth repeating. Give, not to get. So follow that principle and focus on building trust and relationships on LinkedIn and avoid that 4th costly mistake. And look, if you work for a boss or an organization that doesn't get that, well then, tell them to tune into the 21st century, because this is the way it works. In B2B digital social selling, you've got to build trust and relationships. And if your boss doesn't get that, well then tell them to tune into the 21st century before he or she gets fired by their millennial boss. Because the millennials are the ones that are actually up to 50% of our workforce. They're buyers. They are in the buying community, and you cannot sell to a millennial that way. You've got to build trust and relationships. Okay, that is going to do it for episode 15. I'm just going to wrap it up real quickly here. The 3 most costliest mistakes that I see salespeople make on LinkedIn. Number 1, having a resume-focused approach on LinkedIn. Number 2, occasional or sporadic use. Number 3, missing out on all that potential in LinkedIn's research power. And then number 4, the bonus one, is being too salesy, too pitchy, and too focused on the quick hit. Take the long-term trust-building relationship. Hey, for more on this kind of content, social selling content, including insight into our online courses on social selling, hit us up at socialbusinessengine.com. This is Bernie Borges, executive producer of Social Business Engine. I am saying I wish you continued sunshine, even though today it's a little rainy. I still want continued sunshine in your sales career. Until next time, see ya.